And cut. There I am. Hello. Hi, how are you? It's Craig at Flooded. And I don't know, I'm going to make a bit of a weird video this time. It kind of continues on from a video I made where I was talking about a bunch of people who are all connected to somebody who's way on the right. And I just find it interesting because I've been sort of following the growth of people sort of broadcasting from their bedrooms pretty much for the last, I don't know, 10 years, ever since the internet started, really. Historically, we've only had sort of before we had mainstream TV, and then when the internet got good enough to be able to stream, people started streaming. When it became affordable to do it, people started doing it, and the effect of that is that I hate that I can hear myself twice, but I'll just have to. I can't figure out why it's happening, but there you are. I'll just go with it. And I always like to document it. Now, around about the time of Gamergate, there was a bunch of people who were computer gamers. And this is kind of like the start of things happening. And the basically, the gaming community is a huge billion-dollar industry. A lot of people were using the internet to play computer games. And when people started writing that the games were sexist and violent, obviously the gaming community fought back. And a lot of these, there was quite a lot of pushback towards what was seen as feminism. Well, it was feminism, I guess, but women complaining about how women were portrayed in computer games. And, Gamergate happened. And a lot of the people who were writing these stories in the media, in the mainstream media, were being attacked. I don't like that word, attacked, but they were being criticized back by the people who were being, attacked. So there was a lot of nonsense going on. A lot of things were happening. And there was no rules about what you could and couldn't do on the internet. There were no algorithms monitoring what you said. There were no moderators or people sort of protecting your ears from being offended by things. And so people pretty much said whatever they wanted to say. And of course, if you're on the far right, that you were saying some pretty horrible things. And I observed this happening through popular channels on the internet. There's a website called Kiwi Farms. There was a very popular podcast called The Kill Stream, which was presented by a guy called Ethan Ralph. And these guys are Ethan Ralph is a self-proclaimed alt-rightist. He's on the alt-right. He's an awful guy. He's a really horrible guy. I've never seen any good come from him at all. And but for a lot of people, he's entertaining. He's a bit of a pig boy. They love to mock him. And he had a lot of friends, and he's made a lot of his friends into enemies. But I think it's significant that when he was at his worst, a lot of the people who liked him being like that are actually popular YouTubers today. And there's just a network that takes you all the way through from the alt-right of Ethan Ralph through people who liked him are now sort of connected and liking presenters that are on GB News. That's how bizarre things are. And I just see these connections, and they keep becoming affirmed. Like, I made a video about Friday Night Tights, which is these are a group of people who are objecting to intersectional feminism in Hollywood, wokery, turning, turning characters in the comic book world into these sort of social justice warrior perceptions of what the characters should be now, destroying, in their eyes, franchises like Star Wars and the Marvel Universe and Doctor Who, and everything basically has been sort of perverted by them, and that's how they see it. And quite often, they're absolutely right. That's exactly what's happening, and it is awful. And I 100% agree with everything they say. When The Mandalorian came out, there was somebody called Gina Carano. Gina Carano played like his sidekick, the Mandalorian's sidekick, and she was on Twitter and sharing political opinions and views on Twitter, pretty much the same way that a lot of left-wing Hollywood people were doing all the time. And the guys from Friday Night Tights, from the podcast Friday Night Tights, if you want to call it that, they really object to actors sharing their political views and trying to pull and push people into certain directions while constantly what's the word? Constantly I can't think of the word. Constantly building up narratives that they don't like. Right? Now, I'm a little bit fence city here. I'm sitting on the fence a little bit, but I'm not, because I'm making this video. I'm not making this video is not sitting on the fence, because there's definitely things that they say which I think are true, but there's things that they do that I just wouldn't do, and there's also things that they say that I just wouldn't say. So I think it's how you conduct yourself and how you communicate your ideas is what's important. And they are, especially somebody called Neurotic, who seems to be running the whole show. He's very good at voicing his opinion and structuring his arguments. He's good at it. He's really good at it. He's not always right, in my opinion, and I don't always agree with him. And I don't like that he adopts sort of the playground mentality of just yelling and swearing and being angry, and this is not a way to communicate. It's very good to get your young viewers clicking and sending you cash. It's good if you do that. It's good because you're animated, you've got energy, and that's a way to get them all motivated to give you money. And I don't think he does it to do that. I think it's just the way he is. So I can't do that. I can't. I would be acting if I did that. So I don't. And I was watching Friday Night Tights just now, and let's see if this plays.
They just have you there.
Hold on. Here we go.
Hey, I want to remind everyone of something really quickly. So,
we'll
next
it
later. Why? Yeah.
Let me just take it back a little bit. I just want to
don't tone it down.
Sorry, I'm taking it back a little bit because there's something that Nedrotic says here that I think is relevant to what I've just been talking about.
Yes. Yeah, he's your therapist. You tell him whatever you want, and he will listen. And if he doesn't, you talk to me. I'll make sure he does.
Yeah, no, trust me. I will always listen. I will always take your money. I don't care if you're racist or sexist. I'll take all of your money.
I don't care if you're racist or sexist. I'll take all of your money. You see, the thing is that he's joking. Well, I don't know if he is, but it's a joke. And they're laughing because they don't believe that they are racist or sexist. And I don't actually believe that either. But because the context is not being played out anymore, they don't bother giving you context. They just say it. So he's saying, no, I don't care if you're racist, sexist. I'll take your money. That's fine. Okay. All right. Well, that's how you are. Okay.
Yeah, you're not gonna. What was Nick Ricada and the other Jeremy?
Nick Ricada and Jeremy. The other Jeremy is Jeremy from the Quartering, who have raised money in the past for certain charities, but the charities have refused. Hold on a second. Let me get. I don't know if I'm got my facts right.
Not the prominent one, but the other one from Quartering, the one who didn't shave his beard. We're talking about that last night. They were talking about the charity that didn't take Dankulus money.
That's right. So Count Dankula, Marcus Meacham, who's the guy who got his pug to become a Nazi pug, he said for a joke. He said he was doing it for a joke with his girlfriend and partner at the time, wife now, I believe. He was doing it as a joke to her, but my point about it is that it wasn't a joke to her. He was sharing it with his entire fan base on YouTube and monetizing it. So anyway, I'm not going to get into his story, but Marcus Meacham, good friends with Sargon of Akkad. Okay, let's do the linking. Let's link them all up. And these guys here will refer to we and us, what we're trying to do, what us, and this is what they're doing to us. And they group themselves together. Anyway, so he's talking about the fact that Marcus Meacham, hold on, let's listen.
And he had to work for months to get that. That's how they try to dehumanize us, by the way. You can't undersell that. It's we have charity money we want to give you, and people aren't taking it.
Yeah, so he's making a point that people on the right, if they raise money for charities, some charities are saying, no, we don't want your money because you're right wing, and we don't approve of your message. We don't approve of you, which is kind of like the kids that the money's for were probably like, oh, hold on, can we have it anyway? But where's the money come from? I'm sure it would be, if it was the other way around, this lot would be just as upset. I've just noticed that Christy Mayr's got lots of teddy bears and things with her. Why do people have why do adults have toys and teddy bears? Look at all the toys in the background of all these videos.
Because
I'm more interested in why Odin looks like he's in hell in the 1970s Italian porn movie.
I'm okay with it.
I think it looks good.
Interesting.
Wow.
Interesting. It's red for Pentecost. We're in the season of Pentecost, and so the liturgical color is
Odin is
red.
quite religious.
I thought hell.
Pentecost.
How's that metal?
Well, hey, if it reminds you of hell. Hopefully it motivates you.
Pentecost just means 5 cocks.
I think it looks
Coming up,
cool as
sorry,
shit.
It is
Yeah, it
coming
does
up.
look pretty cool.
It is
Oh,
coming.
I
It looks
appreciate
cool.
it.
Chrissy's most definitely going to hell.
Yeah, it is.
It is coming. Why can't I hear myself anymore?
Hey, I want to remind everyone of something.
Hello? Yeah, I am still here. Good.
So,
We'll forget
next
it later.
week,
Why?
yeah, next week. You always talk about stuff we should be looking forward to. Next week, Terror on the Prairie.
Right, the 14th,
from the great Gina Carano.
Right, I'm just going to stop. No, right. Terror on the Prairie is a film that was made by Ben Shapiro's company. Right? Now, they've gotten into making documentaries and films now. It will be one of those films that's based in the same location. So it's kind of easy to make. It's like a play, essentially. So it'll all be around a hut or a house. And it's very easy to make when you do that. It's kind of the model for Netflix at the moment. So this film's coming out. And just listen to what... So she's an actor, by the way. So she's an actor who has been putting out tweets that are political. It's in their eyes, it's okay for her to do that. But it's not okay when the left-wing actors do that. This is the problem I have. And... even if Gina Carano is saying brilliantly wonderful things that I agree with, or you agree with, or everyone agrees with, it doesn't matter. She shouldn't do. I don't think she can do anything she wants, free speech and all that. But I wouldn't be happy if I was making a film and she was dividing the potential audience of that film by her laying out how she feels about what they think. Right? But that's by the by. But she's definitely a political person. Let's see what they say.
And we're always talking about supporting people that are, not pushing political ideology.
Not pushing. He believes that she doesn't push a political ideology. That's not true. She does.
A
Trying to get us,
picture.
back to the roots of just entertainment. I'm super excited about Terror on the Prairie. Gina's obviously starring in it. It's a Daily Wire Productions.
So he's super excited about this film. Now, okay, just listen to this. Listen to how he doesn't talk about what the film's about. Now, these are guys who are always going on about script writing, and story is important. That's what's important in a film. But the only reason he likes this film is for exactly the reason he hates. This is what social justice and political people do who like the films made by the left wingers. He's doing exactly the same thing. They don't care about the story. They don't care about anything like that. They just care about, we've got a political message across, or we've featured people that we like. And that's exactly what he's doing with this.
So go over to her Twitter account and you can see the pinned post, and it'll have all the information right there with the code and everything if you wanted to sign up for it. But I'm looking forward to it. She's awesome.
She's awesome.
Recently hung out with Gina. She was at the Geeks Gamers house in Orlando.
All this stuff he's saying is about him. It's nothing to do with her. It's about him. Look at him. He's awesome. He's arranged all this. He's friends with this celeb from Mandalorian, and he's making it about him. About him, and it's so blatant.
Oh, she's fantastic, and I'm looking forward to this movie.
He doesn't say why she's fantastic. There's no breakdown of what's good about Gina Carano. She just is default because she was sacked and stood by her guns and sides with them and meets up with them. And I'm going to link a lot of these people to that alt-right guy Ethan Ralph in a minute. So, and I've made a video about how close she is. A couple of stone throws away from alt-right, horrible people, right? Really horrible people, and she doesn't even know it.
Movie. So.
Absolutely.
And like Chris said,
too.
Tyler Fisher, who has been on the show before, he's going to be in it.
He's the one in the fly.
Right, now we're talking about stuff I don't really know or care about. So let's think about what's happening. So these are a bunch of people. They talk about politics a lot. It's very samey, the stuff they do. Sometimes it's very entertaining. Sometimes it's very funny. Some of them are really nice people, as far as I'm concerned. They've been led by the hand down in the wrong direction. I wouldn't agree with them politically in a lot of what they say. I would agree with them a lot about what they say politically. It's what I don't agree with quite often is the presentation style. I don't particularly get along with the demographic that they're appealing to. But at the beginning of that clip, there was a mention of somebody called Nick Rikita. So Nick Rikita is a lawyer, or he says he's a lawyer, but he's a YouTuber essentially. He's trained to be a lawyer, but he mainly makes does live YouTube streams, and he covered the Rittenhouse case, and that really served him well. He's got like 400, nearly 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. He makes like 800,000 a year on super chats alone, and he does really well out of YouTube. Now he used to be, and he's actually just done a stream. He's taken it down. I can't find it. He did say it on a stream, outlining his relationship to this guy called Ethan Ralph, who ran a website called The Ralph Retort, and also ran the podcast called The Kill Stream, which is still going, which is tied to Gamergate, and he has self-proclaimed himself as alt-right, very far right. I've heard him when his guard is down, when he's buried in some of the other streaming services outside of YouTube. The N-word is a term he uses to abuse people. The F-word is a word he uses very freely to abuse people. So when the rules are removed, that's where he lives, in that land. That's where his thought processes are. So I think potentially, yes, homophobic, definitely racist guy, says he's on the alt-right, right? That's where Ethan Ralph is. So now Nick Rikita, who, friend of Gina Carano, who hangs out with the Friday Night Tights gang, Nick Rikita is in this video here. Put this bloody music on it.
Oh, Kiwi Farms? Oh, front page. Oh, here we go, guys.
Okay, so front page of Kiwi Farms. Before we do that, have I got Kiwi Farms up? No, I haven't. Kiwi Farms is a horrible website. If you go there, it's kind of like people have tried. People who have supplied the servers for the website have tried to take it down. It's a hangout spot for right wingers. Anything goes, and there are names and addresses of various people published there that they don't like. There's doxing goes on there, and people like Nick is very familiar, as you can see. Here he is sharing the Kiwi Farms website with his viewers, and he's going to play a video clip.
No, Ralph!
Okay, so he's playing a video clip of that Ethan Ralph guy breaking wind live on a stream, and he's been sort of disgusted by it, understandably so. And he's kind of like, this Ethan Ralph is now a bit of an enemy of them all. As I say, looking back at this stream, this is Chrissy Mayer. She's done a podcast with Ethan. Ryan and Jeremy here, they've both like talked about being fans of the kill stream. And this Ethan Ralph guy is kind of become a bit of an enemy because of the fact that the Nick Ricciata laughed at him breaking wind and mocked him. It's become a bit of a they've had a bust up. It's so pathetic what these guys row about. The dramas that they have are so pathetic, so childish. But the point is that there's a network of them. They know each other. There's aspects to each other's personalities that they really get along with, and I just find it interesting. So when if you don't believe me that he was a right winger, Gamergate activist charged with assault on officers. If you don't know, well, I told you what Gamergate's about. In a telephone interview, Ralph declined to discuss his incident, but said he was resuming his duties on the Ralph Retort, which publishes articles such as desperate Google Gmail automatically sending emails from Trump campaign to spam folder, and Jewish overlords pull the plug on BLM, #BLM Broadway show after blacks declare war on Israel. And he says, if you want to call me alt-right, that's probably fair, he says. Ralph is also known for his role in Gamergate, a vitriolic culture war that erupted online in 2014, making those who say there should be more room for women in gaming and those who aren't concerned with inclusiveness. Ralph was also accused of doxing a game designer, Brianna Wu, publishing documents containing her personal information online. After he published the information, the post was truly terrifying. Anything that was posted was public information, he said. So we've talked about let me get my thoughts straight. We talked about Nick Ricciata and we heard Nedrotics talking about, and I've forgotten his name, the Scotsman and his pug dog, him. Can't remember his name. I've already forgotten his name. We've talked about him. Now, Sargon of Akkad, who is Carl Benjamin, so many names here in my head kicking around right now. This network is huge. Stood shoulder to shoulder with Count Dankula, that's it, when they were both running to be MEPs for UKIP. They did it as a bit of a troll. I know that Count Dankler used to, I don't know if he still does, had in his Twitter bio that he's a professional shit poster. His business, his life, the thing that turns him on and excites him about the world is that he can just post stuff that is garbage on the internet because he finds it snigger, hilarious, chuckle. He loves all that. Peppy Frog, City, Arizona. So we got that link there. So now we've got Carl Benjamin into the throw, and they're all fans of one another. They all are aware of each other. They've all shared. Carl Benjamin now runs a podcast on YouTube called Lotus Heaters, which is doing really, really well. And the guest presenters he's had on there has included Calvin Robinson. He's also Leo Kerse. Two people from GB News have appeared on there with him. They've got he's had Whittle, I can't remember his first name. Just plenty of people from mainstream sources now. So the mainstream are now, because that's what GB News is purporting to be. It's like, well, it says it isn't, but it is. It's trying to be a mainstream. It's mimicking mainstream at least. Though they're saying they don't in their topics. So presenters from GB News are now doing stuff with Carl Benjamin, who is somebody who's on the Kiwi Farms website, not a popular figure. Famously, here's something Carl Benjamin said. Sargon thinks the Christchurch terrorist has some really good points in his manifesto. Let's have a listen to this. If you remember, the Christchurch terrorist wrote a manifesto as he walked through various mosques and did a live stream to Facebook as he murdered people.
What we have to do is prevent ourselves from becoming hyper emotional about this, because I see this all the time. People at least signaling that, oh, I was crying all day, every day, like this is terrible, this is the worst thing. You didn't even know any of these people. All right, you didn't know anything. Now you're just scared and confused because something terrible has happened. But unless you know those people, that's not a personal tragedy to you. Okay? Don't tell me that you think it is. I don't believe you. There is no.
So if people are upset or hurt by that, then he's saying it's not a personal tragedy to you. Who said it was a personal tragedy to them? He's making that connection. I think what part of the huge problems that we have is there's people on the spectrum here. There's definitely an autism in this guy that is making him say things like that. There's something wrong with somebody who makes that dumb connection that just because you get upset by seeing a family's being torn apart, he thinks, well, you're just pretending because you didn't. That's not a personal tragedy for you. I was watching a video of the Solem murders, Huntley. And I was just watching interviews with the family, and I was getting like really upset about it because it's upsetting. It's not nothing to do with it's a personal tragedy to me. I don't have kids. I get upset because I have empathy with human beings, and what they're going through, and it's upsetting. And this is something that I think people like Carl lack, and they really do struggle to have empathy at all with fellow human beings. They know at times they should, and when you see them realizing that, I need to be demonstrating empathy here, you don't buy it at all because it's very unconvincing. Let's see what else he's got to say.
No reason to lose our heads over this. All of the things that he's talking about in the manifesto, I'm afraid they just can't be dismissed. They're not things that aren't happening.
So this murderer, who went on the gun rampage at Christchurch, Carl, friends of Dankula, friends of Nerdrotic, friends of Gina Carano. Right. I know there's like, oh, hold on, we can all work as 7 directions to being related to anybody if you try hard enough. But I can guarantee that all these people, if they got together in a room, they would all know each other, and they'd all know each other quite well. I'm not throwing a string out like that person on that end doesn't know this person on that end, like you would do in that game of, okay, I can link myself to, Hitler in 15 moves or whatever. It's not like that. It's that string that is tied together, and it is a network. They know each other. There's no conspiracy here. They're not planning anything together. They just have an ideology. They have a similar mind. They think similarly. Anyway, so that guy who did that shooting has links to Martin Sellner. Oh, hold on, that's not true. He donated money to certain movements. One of them was Martin Sellner. Martin Sellner, of course, is a guy in Europe and Norway or Denmark, I think. I think is married to somebody who's best friends with Lauren Southern. During the planning stages of the attack, he made a donation of $100 to Rebel Media. Rebel Media used to employ Lauren Southern. Let's see what else we got on Rebel Media. Let's look at former contributors. Lauren Southern, Tommy Robinson, Paul Posiebiec, Gavin McInnes, Laura Loomer, Katie Hopkins. Okay, so there's a you might watch this going, oh, come on, this is a bit far-fetched. What a load of nonsense this is. You're saying that Neurotic's an alt-writer because he kind of knows, he talked about... No, I'm not saying that. I don't think... The only person I think's alt-right in this story so far is Ethan Ralph. I think that Gina Carano is possibly one of the loveliest people in Hollywood right now. I don't doubt that for a minute. And I think that all these guys involved in Friday Night Tights are probably absolutely lovely people, right? But what I'm saying is that there is an ideology at play, just like there is on the left, and they are just as bad as... they're not... Well, are they as bad as the people on the left? Well, I think there's a dishonesty in it. There's what they won't do is shout down... they'll shout down things Ralph's done because he's just been an absolute doylem right now. But they won't shout down specific things he's done in the past. Gamergate, I don't know much about. But if there were women being doxxed by anybody, if you were okay with that, then you're a bit of a loser, aren't you? I'm not hearing anybody involved in Gamergate saying that, though. I'm not hearing any condemnation of Gamergate whatsoever. I'm not hearing nuance from these guys at all. I'm hearing anger. I'm hearing frustration. I think things that are happening in woke culture. Understandable. I'm reading the same books. I like Douglas Murray. I'm reading. I know all the hit points. I know the stories. And I know the last 10 years of history. I'm well aware of Kiwi Farms. I'm well aware. I read it. I've read it. I'm well aware that people like Destiny are now rubbing shoulders with Lauren Southern and he's going in a certain direction. I'm paying attention. I know what's happening. I'm not being dumb. I'm just making the observation that there's a whole bunch of people who are linking themselves to one another. Just casually, in conversation, they'll say, oh yeah, Kiwi Farms, oh yeah, this, oh yeah, Killstream, loved that, oh, Ethan Ralph. And it's all bad, and it's all people who are not moderate right, but people who are right of moderate right. Libertarianism's kind of like a separate thing, which I think most of these guys are libertarians, to be honest. Apart from Jeremey, who I think is just like, he's just talentless accountant, really. His whole sole drive in life is to make as much money as possible, and he thinks that will make him it's the least creative people there. I think there are creative people who are like Chrissy Mayer's, like a comedian. She's very creative. Dan Vask, he makes music. Quarter Garrett does editing and whatnot. He's very creative. I don't know what X-Ray Girl does, but she is a grown adult woman with a bunch of toys around her, as is Ryan Cannell, who I think is actually very, very funny. Just completely out of control. This chap here, Az, nobody knows his real name. He's not told anyone. He's not been brave enough to do that yet. We know everybody's first name apart from Az's. We know he lives somewhere in North Yorkshire or West Yorkshire, and he's terrified of the day he's got to go through to America and we're going to see the full body Az. I don't think he wants to show himself. Understandably, me neither, Az. Anyway, I'm going off the point. There's a network of stuff going on here, and I just wanted to point it out. So when you watch GB News and you see Calvin Robinson, there's just know that anybody on Friday Night Tights could probably get a link through to Calvin Robinson. Calvin Robinson's been a guest on the Lotus Eaters with Sargon of Akkad, which is Carl Benjamin, who I just think's like I think he's autistic. I don't think he realizes that he doesn't have this. He can't connect to people. I think he really struggles connecting to people. I think he's clever. I think he knows his history. I think he collates information quite well, but there's nobody. The person who thinks he's the most amazing person in the world is himself, and that comes across. The arrogance is very difficult to stomach sometimes. It's my personal opinion with him. And if I was producing him, I'd get him to knock that on the head. Basically, a lot of these people just need a producer. And there's other people on GB News. And I've also noticed that some of the people from GB News are now appearing on the BBC Question Time. So look how things are shifting round. There's a whirlpool, and there's all sorts of people who are mingled in there, who are people who were just YouTubers on spurious websites saying horrible things. And now there's a growingness. They've made money now. They can afford little studios. They can afford like animated graphics. They can afford editing. They're forming into teams. They're forming into little mini production companies, and they're starting to look more mainstream. So the thing that they object to most, which is the mainstream world of media, they're mimicking it so they can look like they're part of it, because secretly that's exactly what they want to be. They want to go from the disrespect they get as like this alternative media. They want to move from there to respected mainstream media. And we're just seeing it happening, and especially with the event of organizations like GB News, which has totally sort of exploited the fact that there's all this talent out there making YouTube videos. Now, am I talking crap? Do you disagree? Is any of this interesting? Does any of this matter? Am I just making ridiculous leaps? Let me know down in the comments. I have to go off to France now for a few weeks, so I will be uploading videos from that trip. I'm filming a documentary series out there, and I'll be uploading videos from that to my Patreon. If you want to see those, then you can just sign up for Patreon. I'll do it dirt cheap. I'll do it dirt cheap just for you. There'll be a link down in the description, and join me sort of behind the scenes of making documentaries for whatever channel. I do tell you everything, but I can't do it here. Thanks very much for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, and all that usual bump. And when I can find when I can find my mouse on the screen, I'll end the recording. Okay, take care of yourself, and speak to you next time. Cheers. Bye bye.